Hey everybody, it's Leslie Dale with the TFP, and we're going to do introductions first. We're talking the debate tonight. 74% of Americans expected to watch. So, you guys care? We're going to break it down for you. Let's do the introductions.
Hey, I'm Ellis Smith. I'm the digital editor at the Times Free Press.
I'm Pam Sohn. I'm the Times editorial page editor.
Clint Cooper. I'm the opinion page editor of the Chattanooga Free Press.
Okay, let's get into it. This is making history tonight. Debate between Hillary Clinton, first woman presidential nominee, and that guy Donald Trump. We've all heard of him too, right? So let's talk about what to expect. There are a bunch of different opinions floating out there, and certainly will be at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. So,
I mean, I guess one of the questions I had, first of all, is like it seems like there was, even just getting to the debates has been a little bit of a struggle for them so far. I mean, I wonder who do you think they're both excited to be in this debate, or do you think they would have both just as soon not done one and just let the voters decide?
Well, I've heard Hillary, for example, speak in Nashville. I was there at Meharry Medical College in February, I believe, and she was amped up to debate with him.
She's ready to go.
Yeah. She made that loud and clear.
So maybe it's Trump that didn't want to do him as bad.
Well, it probably would have looked bad if either candidate had said, "No, I don't want to do debates." That would certainly redound to the one who did. And but I've heard it's interesting to note that the debate preparations, as I've heard, are completely different. That Hillary Clinton has taken the usual type of debate preparations and had someone act as Donald Trump.
And they do that very aggressively too, right? They
And
really come after you in those prep sessions.
Correct, and she has done that and been very sort of by the book, by the way that most of the previous debate participants have handled it.
It'd be interesting to see that person behaving as Donald Trump.
Right, I wonder who they had to stand.
You usually find out afterwards who the stand-in was, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see that. But,
right.
I've heard that there are two stand-ins. One who acts like the bad Donald Trump, and one who acts like I'm the Mr. Nice Guy Donald Trump.
Interesting.
Right.
They jump in for one another or tag out like professional
I would
wrestling.
love to see video of that. So if anybody has it,
send that to webeditor at timesfreepress.com.
But the other thing is that Donald Trump has not done that. But he has just eschewed all the debate preparation, and he's just going to go out there. I mean, I think he's studied some, but they say he hasn't had the same kind of thing that Hillary did, and that he just is just going to go out and be Donald.
Well,
which is what he's done a lot.
That's
what he's done a lot on the trail.
Learn.
Yeah, I mean, when he gives his speeches, a lot of times they seem
people say he
wholly
doesn't
off
have
the
a
cuff.
teleprompter.
Yeah, I mean, he gets up there and he's got, maybe in his head, he's got an outline of 6 or 7 things he wants to say, but how he gets from thing 1 to thing 6 could be a different path depending on how he's feeling that day or whatever.
And a lot of criticism about Trump coming from Democrats is that he has these things to say, as you mentioned, these issues he wants to talk about, but they say nothing to back it up as far as strategic planning. For example, the Mexico situation, the wall he says he's going to build, there's no funding planning necessarily, so it'll be interesting in a debate scenario because
he'll get challenged on that certainly by both Clinton and the moderator Lester Holt.
Right.
So
those
it'll be interesting to see how he comes back on that, because I think you're right, people want to hear, okay,
well,
so
how's it going to happen?
Build a wall. That may sound like a good idea to me, but I don't know how you do that. How do you fund it? And so that's something when he's asked, maybe he'll come up with a good answer. What do you think? Do you think he'll have something on that?
Well, I don't know whether he'll have something or not, but he's gone through all these different Republican debates, and that doesn't seem to have bothered him before.
No.
Not to have facts about things or not to be able to back it up. And I think that most people probably who tune in to watch him, who are already fans, don't really care. That's not to say they shouldn't,
right?
But that they've made up their minds for other reasons, and they support him for other reasons. And if he talks about the wall, that's what they want to hear, not how I'm going to pay for the wall, or not who's going to pay for the wall, but I'm going to build a wall.
Now, there's another strategy.
One of the things that surprises me so much about this is the large number of undecideds that seems to be out there.
What is it, like 10%, 20%?
I think it's even more than 10,
really?
But I don't know what the exact percentage is. But it's a large number. It's larger than the undecideds in most previous elections.
I wonder if these are
So-
independents or if there's undecideds in the parties too, who
I-
don't want to hold their nose and vote for their candidate or whatever the
I
case
think
may
that's
be.
probably part of it for both of them. But I am amazed at the number of people who might come to this debate thinking that this will help them make that decision.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that Trump can just look presidential and win those people. I think he has to bring in those issues and be able to talk about the specifics
Plans.
of some of these issues.
Not just the
in
what, but
order
the
to do
how.
it. Right.
Yeah, and that's probably what Clinton will set up with as well. And I was going to say his counter strategy in the past to that has seemed to be to go on the offensive. So if it seemed like, and I didn't watch every single debate to be honest, but I watched several of them, and it seemed like whenever the spotlight, he felt like it was shining a bit too brightly on himself, he would attempt to kind of turn it around and shine it on whoever else, had a weakness, and in this case,
Rubio at the time,
Yeah.
or Cruz.
Cruz, and Hillary, of course, has her share of, she's been in politics for a long time.
She's
there's
been
a lot
through
there's a lot of things going
certainly a
back
great number of
that he could
debates.
certainly. I mean, are there any places where you think he's going to go for the jugular in particular?
Well, there's only one other candidate on the stage tonight in addition to him, and that's
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. So I think he could attack some, but I think he risks by turning and attacking all the time. If he does that after every answer or after every answer that he feels unclear about,
Especially for those undecided.
right now,
Yeah.
I would think he would attack some, and that's probably reasonable to expect. But I think it just depends on whether he, how much he does, and how bitter it gets, and because I think that could easily sway her way if he's too much like that.
Yeah. I mean, is there a point on the attack where where he gets too aggressive, where he maybe, where you see some anger, you see some kind of ugly emotion there, where you think it'll turn people off more? Because he's been very successful.
I
with
think
the
he's pretty
attacking.
unpredictable.
Yeah.
I think that's his strength, is being able to attack and label and brand.
Yeah.
But I don't think that weighs very well with a lot of Americans, and apparently not with those undecided.
Yeah,
where
they haven't
they'd
been
be
convinced
decided.
yet. What do you think is? Do you think it'll be the facts that sway the undecideds in this case, or do you think there's a personality factor to it, or?
I think it will be both.
Yeah.
I think the personality part of it, again, if somebody is a Trump supporter, they've made that decision already based on what they've
Yeah.
seen of Donald Trump.
I think I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think if somebody is tuning in tonight and really wants to give Trump a chance, or in other words, they're really going into it thinking, well, I'll sort of see what they say tonight, then they really want to listen and see what he has to say, and if he remains. If he gives good answers, if he doesn't go off the rail too much,
Yeah.
if he keeps his temper, then I think they're more apt to give him a chance.
So you think that'd be a win if he kind of keeps it under control and doesn't turn into that super hyper aggressive Trump that we've seen?
But
flare
you
up
do
at times?
have the people who are already backing him, who are very fueled by that
And they
aggressive
like that.
behavior.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So
not
it's
the
weird
people who
'cause-
haven't decided their vote yet.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting as far as
So
his
maybe he has
strategy
to calm
goes.
down a little bit from the primaries where he was hyper aggressive, and people want to see he's still the same guy, but maybe on the
But they
Republican
want to
side.
see some specifics too.
Yeah.
I think he actually has more to win or more to lose
Yeah.
than Hillary Clinton does.
Well, what does Hillary have to do?
Yeah,
does
let's talk about-
she just have to? I mean, what's her strategy here?
And I mean, people know her as a very strong woman,
Right.
a very boss type, dominating figure. And for some people that is a positive, and for some people, critics have said she's not likable or warm enough. So it'll be interesting to see. I know her team
She's gonna turn on the charm.
has put out a few things lately, pictures of her with children, which has been a big initiative of hers since she started in politics. But I know in the last couple of weeks you've seen more warm press releases and pictures about what she's been doing. So it'll be interesting to see if she's going to come on strong. She's certainly said very strong things about Trump. I think recently she said if a candidate can be spurred by a tweet, they shouldn't be handling national security. So she's can come on strong, and then you see these warmer things. Certainly, all of her activity toward children. So
Right.
Maybe
think-
both. I don't know.
I think maybe both, but I also think that if he attacks, she has to be careful too.
Right.
She has to.
How much
be
pushback
able,
is appropriate for
Right.
her, given her, the way people perceive
that,
her?
that she needs to be able to show people her warmer grandmotherly side.
You don't want to kind of yell back at them because that feeds the
On
narrative.
the other hand, my best memory of my grandmother was when she was tough.
Was tough. Yeah. I think with these two candidates, certainly safe to say, neither of them are very balanced all of the time. It's like
you get
know,
one or the
one
other,
way
sort of
or
a
the
Jekyll and
other.
Hyde situation with each one.
right, right. And I mean,
I don't mean that in a negative
No.
way about either candidate, of course.
and I want to break down some things that are going to go on according to CNN tonight. The debate will begin at 9 o'clock Eastern on CNN and other major networks. It will last 90 minutes with no commercials, no breaks. Moderators, we talked about Lester Holt. Let's talk about him real quick again. So some people are looking for this moderator to be fact-checking the whole time. Moderators get a lot of heat. A lot of the talk on Twitter is about the moderator, Lester Holt, not even the candidates at this point. So what do you expect? I mean, we don't really know what to expect. Or what do people want from this moderator?
I want him not to let untruths be told and stand on either side.
That's a good thing to hope for.
That's reasonable to expect.
Yeah.
I also think that he just, he needs to be perceived as fair. Now, given that both sides are so partisan, it probably doesn't matter that he probably won't be perceived as fair no matter what he does. But, I'd just like for him to be fair to both candidates. I think we've seen in the past, I think in the 2012 election, where many people thought, especially I believe it was the vice presidential debate, but maybe it was another presidential debate, where Candy Crowley was not perceived as being fair. And I think they just want to see fairness on both sides, on asking one the same question or the other one, or following up and being fair.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the two schools of thought are: do you want the media questioner to be a player on the field, or do you want them to be the umpire behind the plate, or some mix of those two things? And I don't know.
I guess it's evolved into a different.
We'll get some sort of hybrid of that, I'm sure. Where
it's really not a mediator anymore. I
Yeah.
feel like it's more, of a truth teller.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it has evolved. Yeah,
Yeah.
From those things certainly. But I think some people, and Trump certainly, I believe that the media's gone after him very aggressively on some of the things that he says that appear to be or are in contravention of the truth, and I think he's going to use that as an opportunity. I would guess. I would guess he's already got some one-liners. He may not have prepared very much, but I would put money on the fact that he's already got some one-liners prepared for when that moderator enters into the debate to throw allegations of media bias or whatever.
Well,
it
he
wouldn't
has
surprise
in every
me.
other debate.
Yeah,
He's
it would.
blamed the media
Yeah.
almost every time he's
And then
taken
you know what? The
microphone.
media goes on to use those sound bites the entire next
Yeah.
48 to 72 hours because I guess that's what the audience is driving.
Well, and one thing too is that Trump supporters believe that, believe that when he says that the media is biased.
Really,
and
yeah.
And so I think that if he does that, his own supporters are just confirmed in that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's talk about the debate format. The debate will be divided into 6 segments of 15 minutes each. The first 2 segments will focus on America's direction. The next 2 will focus on achieving prosperity, the economy, and the final 2 will focus on securing America. That's national security and foreign policy. So
we're really getting
lots to talk about.
a tour de force here of,
Yeah.
of the whole thing.
So
America's direction.
America's direction. That's kind of broad.
It's a little broad, yeah.
Yes.
But it's one of the most common polling questions that you get these days. I think that people have a general sense of. Almost anybody can tell you they think America's headed in the right direction or the wrong direction. And I think these candidates are probably going to try to make. I mean, what are they going to argue here?
Well, each segment will begin with a question. One candidate will have 2 minutes to respond, then the other will have 2 minutes to respond. That should be interesting. There's not going to be any music to play when they're supposed to stop talking, so
Right.
you know that's going to be very entertaining.
They'll probably have the lights.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
little red light.
yes. But whether
I'm
or
assuming
not
Trump's going to argue that America's going in the wrong direction, and Hillary's going to argue it's going in the right direction.
make
Is that
America
fair to
great
say?
again, or America
Hillary's
is
going to
already
say
great.
it's already great. Is
Right.
that
Well, polls right now show and have for months and months and months show that while Americans will say the country is going in the wrong direction, that doesn't necessarily mean they're overwhelmingly for Trump.
Right.
They may believe that on the just the whole issue of America's going in the wrong direction, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to put their vote that way against the party that holds the office now.
And there's a little disconnect between the high number of people who say America's going in the wrong direction and Obama's likability,
Sure.
approvability,
Yeah.
approval rating at the moment.
Which is over 50%.
Right.
Okay.
And Congress, on the other hand, their approval rating is like 15.
Somewhere in there with Vladimir
15%,
Putin, I think, in the
something
media,
like
but-
that. So there's a disconnect even in those polling numbers.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to put a lot of stock a lot of times in all the numbers.
Sure.
If you do, you just get caught up in it.
I know. And it'll be interesting to see what those numbers look like tomorrow. Or, but after the initial question, each candidate having 2 minutes to respond, then it's going to be followed by 10 minutes of open debate and discussion. And a question many of you have is, okay, who goes first? Well, due to the results of a coin toss, we've seen that before.
Very scientific.
Yes. The first question of the debate will go to Hillary. The same question will then be asked to Trump. In the second segment, the order will be reversed. So,
Pretty fair.
that's what we have to do, yeah. I'm interested to see how this goes. I think it will definitely be entertaining. I don't know if that's the best we can hope for. To be honest, as a reporter, I hope we get some solid answers, and I do think the moderator has evolved into sort of a truth teller at this point, and I'm certainly not going to be surprised if he's doing a lot of fact checking. I think that's what we're going to see. So I think that will be interesting if that really does go on to be pressed, and whether or not you have a firm hold on who you're voting for already, I would advise everyone to listen closely to all answers. We certainly will be.
Yeah, you guys are going to watch it, I assume. How are you going to kind of keep score when you watch it? I mean, are you doing a debate roulette or anything like that? I mean,
I haven't gotten into that
What's
yet.
your favorite way to enjoy the debate?
Oh, I think just for me, a lot of times I just take notes.
You do.
That helps me focus on some of the important things that were said. And of course, it'll be all over the media tomorrow, the different things. If someone makes a gaffe, that'll be all that people are talking about. Or if somebody gets too mad.
What was it with Romney? The
47%.
no, with the women. Said something. I believe it was him at a debate that really got
Binders of
binders
women.
of
Binders
women.
of women.
So
Binders full of women.
right. So that was just everywhere. After that was said.
Yeah, there'll probably be some sound bites
Something
to come
like
out
that.
of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know there will be.
Well, what do you? I have kind of a tougher question. I was going to just ask you guys what you thought were each candidate's. When it comes to whether it's foreign policy or defense or social issues or the economy or whatever. What do you think? And we'll just say, since you were on the right for Trump, what do you think Trump's weakest area is going to be during this debate? What do you think his strongest area is going to be during the debate? And then we'll ask about Clinton.
I think we'll start with his weakest area, and I just think that's if people have come to get specifics, to get beyond the issues or beyond how he's going to do something, but maybe how he's going to pay for it, or what the details of the policy will be, and they're looking for that, and he doesn't give them that, as he often didn't during the Republican debates, then they'll be disappointed. I think as far as strength goes, maybe the best thing he can do, I think, especially for people who are on the fence, is to just remain not mad. Don't go too much off on her and accusing her of things.
That so-called presidential. He needs to appear
Right, I was
presidential.
trying not
you were trying
to
not
use
to say
that
that, but
term.
people are gonna.
But I think that if there are people on the fence about him, that if he does some of those things and just is not flummoxed for an answer or something like that, then I think that could help him. So that would probably, to me, that would be the best thing he could do in the debate. And I think for the people who are already supporting him, just being strong on the things that he's already said that he likes and or would do, and just his slogan of "Make America Great Again." I think that people understand that, people hear it, and people think, well, yeah, I want to do that. Of course, everybody wants to do that.
So to put a finer point on it, you're probably referring to things they don't want to see him back off too much on some of this immigration stuff that he said. They probably don't want to see him back off on those types of issues that he's really been very strong on.
Correct.
Okay. And what about Clinton, do you think? What does she need to do to win, and what's her biggest weakness? Or what's
Her strength is the fact that she has great command on all of the issues
Yeah.
that we'll be talking about. Donald Trump has lots of bluster and lots of pie in the sky, but not much command. She's got that command. Her weakness will be whether she appears wooden as she displays that command.
So she needs to have that warmth, that smile that we have seen at times, and sort of, I don't know, not be wooden.
Like I said, when I saw her speak back in February at Meharry Medical College in Nashville, she was ready to go against him. She was actually saying she was hoping he would get the nomination because she wanted to debate with him. And she used the word fight several times. So I don't know if she's going to come out swinging or not. And so many people weigh into this, like their team of advisors, but when it gets down to the moment, you don't know which button's going to be pressed.
Right.
And, both of them are pretty good at pressing buttons with each other.
We do have one question
Yes.
that I think we have some comments on here that we're sort of addressing, but Gabrielle Fancher, and I'm sorry, I hope I'm saying your name right, says, wouldn't it have been better if they had allowed Gary Johnson to debate? And that's true. There was a lot of people you're talking about they're kind of thinking about, I've got to hold my nose, I've got to vote for this candidate. There are some Democrats that don't like Clinton, and there are some Republicans who don't like Trump. And Gary Johnson.
I also saw a Gary Johnson bumper sticker today.
You did?
In Chattanooga. I did.
They exist.
I did.
And but he didn't make, what was it, the threshold, 15%?
I
He
think
needed to be
that's
polling
it.
at 15%,
That's
and
right.
so he was excluded from the debate. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, if everybody has to follow the same ground rules, then it makes sense that he's not in the debate. I also think that there are a lot of people out there this year, given the dislike of both candidates, who would have liked a third party. Now, maybe if they had started way back when in January or something like that, and worked a little harder at that, knowing that Trump would be the candidate or that Hillary Clinton would become maybe more unpopular than she was. I don't know, but then maybe he might have made it. But if those are the rules going in, and he didn't reach that limit, then there's not a whole lot that people could say.
What do you think, Pam?
I think that it's extremely unlikely that he would carry the election, so the end result is that he would change the outcome of the election one way or another.
He would kind of
Way
vampire
that-
away
he-
votes
he-
from one candidate
much
to the
like
other.
Ross Perot
Yeah,
did.
or Ralph
Okay.
Nader
Wow.
or whoever. Yeah.
Blast from the past, Ross.
Yeah, because you
Perot.
had people who thought that Ross Perot was responsible in part for George H.W. Bush's loss,
Correct.
and then Ralph Nader was responsible for, was it Kerry?
Al Gore?
Al Gore.
Gore.
Al Gore,
Al
that's
Gore.
right. Al Gore
Yeah.
losing.
Where is
by a
Al
very-
Gore?
By a very close margin. Growing that beard out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've been scrolling Twitter, as the digital reporter in me goes, and Twitter is all abuzz. Hashtag debate night about this.
Hashtag debate night. So.
We have somebody saying, it's actually USA Today follower, ready to rumble, with a picture of Donald Trump. And then someone saying, women ask the moderator to fact check everything, versus a man who begs moderator to fact check nothing. What do you guys think about that? That's not the case, right?
I got thrown off by the women part.
So they're saying women want everything fact checked. They want all the answers, and men are like, nothing.
So on
Just
Monday
go.
Night Football, you guys don't want a referee?
There's fact. Well, what about instant replay? You've got instant replay on the. Did he make the touchdown? Did he not make the touchdown?
I think in a lot of these too, it sort of depends on what the truth is.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
one truth, a truth could be one thing, or truth could be another, and so coming down, on an exact truth isn't always going to be quite.
Well, I'd like to talk about that because there were a lot of fact checks that have come out, and some of the fact checks themselves have turned out later on to have needed fact checking of their own. There was the whole thing about I guess with the Iranian, there was money that was going into Iran, and then there were hostages that were coming out, and people were tying. I guess Trump was tying those together, and the administration said no, there's no, and the fact checkers came out and said Trump's lying, it's not true, and then later on it turned out there was some agreement there, maybe not a per se. So the fact checks themselves, sometimes the facts, we don't know everything quite yet. It's been interesting to see that kind of happen as the media tries to take on this role of referee in these things.
Right. I know from the standpoint of even the Times Free Press running, the Associated Press will put out a fact check article, and we've gotten a number of letters or calls that saying that you're just being biased on one side of the fact check, and you're not running this many of against Hillary as you were against Trump, and so
that's because there aren't as many.
And she can say that because she writes for the opinion section,
Right.
where the opinion section is about opinions and it's about having them. And so I have to say that 'cause some
Right.
people don't actually know that.
But I do think that fact checks have sort of become partisan, their own on their own, and so. There may be some that still believe that a fact check is a real fact check, but I'm not sure they're as valuable as maybe they used to be when they were sort of neutral and would really check the facts as much as they could.
Yeah. And it's hard because it's always the facts according to whom. A State Department spokesman told me this. Well, that's what the State Department says. But what if someone else inside the State Department would have said something different?
Meanwhile, at the White House, we don't believe that.
Yeah, that's totally. I mean, just like at any organization where you guys work, sometimes different departments don't even agree on the same stuff. So it can be really interesting seeing these things come in and then seeing a different fact check come in later that has a different set of facts. But anyway, what else do we have?
Many more opinions. On Twitter, someone saying, "I have no choice but to quote the great war criminal Henry Kissinger on the Iraq-Iran war." He says,
"Was he ever tried as a war criminal?"
But this person says, "Too bad they both can't lose." #debate night.
And that's not an uncommon sentiment, actually. The "too bad they both can't lose." I mean, I hear that. I think more often than I hear "I'm for Hillary" or "I'm for Trump." I mean, I don't know about you guys.
It's kind of sad.
But maybe that's why some of the entertainment value comes into it, is that a lot of people are so detached from it. They don't have a lot of emotional attachment to either candidate. They just want to see a good show, which it, of course, promises to be.
Someone who does is Senator Tim Kaine, Hillary's running mate.
He says,
he definitely cares. He says, "This job takes maturity, compassion, and wisdom." Maturity, compassion, and wisdom. Only one candidate has what it takes to win. And that's
which one is he talking about?
Gary Johnson.
I wonder, and I think he chose those words very, or someone did for him at least.
Someone probably did for him.
Maturity,
Someone making about $120,000 a year.
Those three words I wouldn't say are used a lot to describe Donald Trump. Maturity, compassion, and wisdom.
Depends on what bar you're at.
Depends on who you are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so this election has come down to being the entertainment
Definitely.
segment.
Which it has been.
Politics.
I think Trump and his family
unfortunate.
get way more press because they are such characters.
They're colorful, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, a lot of times the media, we talk about the media.
Well, I don't know that the Clintons are exactly hurting for press either.
No, but I mean, to me, I feel like
But do you think
it
of
is
them as
Trump heavy.
entertaining?
No.
Like a character, like a cast of characters.
Bill's
like
pretty entertaining.
You have Ivanka, Donald Trump's son is always speaking on his behalf, and the way media makes decisions is totally different at every outlet. I've worked at several different news outlets, but they look at what the audience wants to see or what the metrics are looking like. And
But a lot of TV networks, Donald Trump, having Donald Trump on TV.
he's always available too.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's always
like,
available. He lives in New York, so he's always can walk into the studio, and
Or call
ratings go up.
Right.
If you have Donald Trump on your program, I mean, it's just, and Hillary's been much more reticent. There was actually a countdown, almost like the Iranian hostage crisis, where it was like day 32, Hillary has yet to give an interview to the media.
Right.
Day 70.
Never mind that she was on the stump every day.
Yeah, she was out giving speeches and everything, but she wasn't
Talking
answering-
with the
she
actual
wasn't-
people.
She wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
she has been less. Donald Trump, meanwhile, was like he was barging in, saying, "Oh, I want to do an interview," and so you had two different styles there of kind of getting yourself out into the world, which is interesting to watch.
And this is really bad. Someone posted a picture of an ambulance saying Hillary's ride to the debate tonight.
Oh,
You guys. So
you
people
guys
are
have got the funnies going on today.
definitely getting creative.
Huh? Yeah.
So I think we've talked a lot about this. We have, if we're counting down, we have 8 hours to go.
8 hours to go.
To the match starts.
Want to give them the last word? Closing thoughts.
Opinions.
Well, I just say for Trump, I think, as I said before, he has the most to win and the most to lose, and if he remains, that famous word, presidential, or at least doesn't lose his temper and seems to have somewhat of a grasp on the issues, then I think he comes out of it in better shape than she does. Now she'll probably, as Pam mentioned, have a good grasp on the issues, and but I think he has more to either lose or win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very low bar.
There you go. Well, I am interested to see, with all the experience we've reported on with Hillary's career, if she can really take a hold of him using that experience, if she's able to get a hold of him and rein him in, whatever his demeanor is. That will be interesting to me. It's very, it can be difficult for someone's mind to overpower someone's emotions. And the mind is a powerful thing, but you got to know how to use it.
Yeah, Trump had a way of dominating his opponents almost to the point where they became useless during the primary.
Meek.
Yeah, very
Right.
meek and sort of almost I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but it seemed to have the same effect as like almost a schoolyard bully, where you kind of people kind of ran out of gas a little bit, in terms of kind of lost their talking points.
Right.
And I think it'll be Hillary's challenge to kind of rattle him, to get him off that game and see if she can even turn that back around.
Or just to
on
be able
him.
to stand her ground and hold
stand
on
her ground.
to
Yeah, the minimum.
all of
At a minimum, stand her ground. But if she's, it's going to be a big psychological game. Is what we're going to be watching up there. I mean, we're going to be seeing who can kind of
Right.
gain the upper hand. There, don't you think?
Yeah.
Or-
Yes, I think it's very, very much a chess game.
Yeah.
Well, I've been
Verbalized
asking.
chess game.
Yeah, definitely. I've been asking you all too today on our social media, on Facebook, where the watch parties are going to be in Chattanooga tonight. That should be interesting. So let me know on our Facebook page. I may go scout that out.
Leslie
be
Dale.
surprised if-
Leslie Dale will come to your watch party. So
I might.
I wouldn't be surprised if both parties at their headquarters or somewhere didn't have one, but there may be others.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's always interesting to see people in their element. It's kind of like going to a movie theater when people don't know the actors there or something like that, to see how people are really responding to what's going on. So we'll see. Let us know about the watch parties, and we'll be checking our Twitter and our Facebook. And I'm glad that this conversation happened. I hope it's getting you guys talking. Lots of people on the web talking. People on the web are very brave with their conversations.
if
So-
people have more questions or want to submit stuff to you guys or whatever, I mean, is there a good way to send something to news@timesfreepress.com, or would you
Letters
like
to the editor.
letters to the editor? Yeah, if you have an opinion, we're up here because we have a newspaper. But if you have an opinion, you can send a letter to the editor. We publish those. We publish them online as well as
Right.
in print. And or you can leave a comment in this thing, and we'll check that out. So we want to hear your voice as well. So thanks so much for listening to us.
Debate tonight, 9 o'clock.
See you out there.